Alright, so we've got a fun fight here. So Carl Daukaus versus Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland has a 5-inch reach advantage, both are the same height. So Kevin Holland, he does utilize that range or the length that he has, like 81 inches. That's quite sizable for the division. Probably is the longest reach in the division. But yeah, he uses it very well. He fights very long. He likes to fight very long, keep the opponent just at bay with straight punches or kicks up the middle. He has a nice 1-2, nice 3-2. Those are primarily the techniques that he's going to use against southpaws, just because he has to close that distance first, and then he can extend on his punches after that. And Carl Daukaus, he does leave his lead hand low at times, so he does need to watch out for that follow-up punch, or not the follow-up punch, the first punch, so like the 3 or the 1-2, the 1. You got to watch out for that from Kevin Holland, because Daukaus, he never really brings that lead hand up, so he's got to watch out for that. Especially the left hook of Kevin Holland, the left hook of Kevin Holland over the lead shoulder of Daukaus. But Kevin Holland also likes to teep to the body, likes to fight very long, as I said before. Carl Daukaus, he's a southpaw. He is mostly throwing the 3-2 or the 1-2. I think he and his brother just kind of drill those combinations back and forth over and over again. Like, you watch Carl Daukaus fight, you watch Chris Daukaus fight, basically on the feet they're just on the 3-2 or the 1-2. I swear they just, go back and forth with those techniques in the gym. But yeah, he doesn't really let his hands go enough, in my opinion. He has nice hands, he has, keeps everything nice and tight. He actually has fast hand speed. He never really overextends on anything, but he mostly just uses it as a means to an end. He throws the 3-2 and he tries to enter the clinch, and that's where he wants to get the fight, and that's where he probably should want to get the fight in this fight. But just in general, I think he needs to use his hands a little bit more. For Kevin Holland, he's easily backed up, and he's easily gets pushed to the fence, and that's going to open up the takedown entries for Carl Daukaus. And Daukaus actually has pretty nice takedown entries as well. Like, he sets up his takedown entries nice. He sets it up with a 3-2, as I said before. He usually gets good entries. Like, he usually gets deep on opponent's hips, or like deep into like a trip. But he just has subpar like takedown, like a subpar finishing ability on his takedowns. Like, he gets good entries, but he just needs to work on his finishes of his takedowns. But yeah, most of his successful takedowns do happen in the clinch. He has the nice inside leg trip from the body lock or the clinch. He utilizes his height pretty well. He's probably not going to be able to do it here, but he utilizes his height very well in the clinch. Tries to get the body lock, take it down low, break the opponent's posture, and looks to take the opponent down from there. And he is very flowy on top. He's got good transitions. He will posture up, throw hard punches, throw hard elbows. But, mostly he's just looking to transition and look for, submission openings. He's got a nice DAS set up. Even when he's in half guard, he'll look for that DAS set up and then, try and pass. Well, use it to pass as the opponent's trying to defend the DAS, or just break the setup. Even when the opponent's posture is broken, he looks for that DAS and then looks to crack them down and then try to roll them over and potentially get side control from there as well. He's got good guard passes, which is something Kevin Holland's got to watch out for. Kevin Holland generally doesn't get his guard pass, but he's just too comfortable off his back. He's too lax on the mat. Like, you see him, he just locks his guard. When he does get taken down, he just locks his guard and doesn't really look to get back to his feet immediately. Doesn't have any urgency. And his takedown defense is just horrid. Like, he goes for that arm and guillotine when the opponent shoots a double, which is just the dumbest technique in the game, because it's just so easily defended. You just, if you're trying to take down the opponent and they go for that arm and guillotine thing, basically you just sweep their legs to the side, and you're out of it. You're in side control now. So it's just such a silly technique. But yeah, he will give his back to get up as well. If he does even try to get up, he does give his back. So yeah, that's a worry there against Daukaus, who's very good BJJ player. So how these guys win fights: smooth transitions on top, good takedown defense for Carl Daukaus. For Kevin Holland, he's got a good chin. He's very loose. He's very comfortable in the cage. That's definitely a good thing. How these guys lose fights: Alright, so for Kevin Holland, he's got god-awful takedown defense. He's got zero get-ups, and his mentality, which we'll get into it in a sec, but we'll talk about his mentality. Also, poor fight IQ, especially when it comes to engaging in the grappling, and he will slow in the third round in high-paced fights. Carl Daukaus will slow after 2 rounds, and even quicker in high-paced, competitive fights. Also grappling tendencies, which I didn't mention before, because Kevin Holland's not really gonna exploit them, or it's more defensive grappling, which I'm not expecting him to face too much here, honestly, or have to use too much here. Pass to victory for these two. For Kevin Holland, keep the volume up, don't let him feel comfortable in any position at all, and look to attack the body. Like, he didn't seem to enjoy getting hit to the body too much against Hawes. Don't engage him on the ground at all, even if you knock him down, call him back up, let's have a striker match. For Carl Daukaus, I think it's forward pressure to get to the fence. Don't just stay at kickboxing range. I think you'll lose that fight more often than not. But yeah, obviously wrestle. I mean, obviously, right? Don't just give up if he stuffs one takedown attempt. If you chain wrestle, or if you chain attempts together, you're going to be able to get him down. And only settle for top position. Don't pull guard or anything if he's making you work for the takedowns. You'll get the takedown eventually, and just only settle for top position. You want to be on top. And don't go for any unnecessary passes or submission attempts and give up position potentially, because he does have a decent guard, like a decent defensive guard. He's just not urgent to get back to his feet, so you don't really need to pass guard. Just sit in his guard and control him from there. Force him against the cage. So I feel like Kevin Holland, he doesn't pummel at all. Daukaus is just going to destroy him in the pummel battle. So the fence clinch, not everyone's cup of tea, but I feel like that's the path to victory for Carl Daukaus. How is his fight going? Alright, so Kevin Holland, he's a good striker. I feel like Daukaus will have a better success, but I would expect Kevin Holland to style on him a little bit in the stand-up. However, like Kevin Holland, whenever he faces somebody with an ounce of grappling, they beat him basically. Except for that meme of all memes against Jacare, which was just an absolute clown show. But yeah, so basically, if you want to get him down, you can. Like, the dude has no joke. Some of the worst takedown defense I've ever seen. Like, well, look at this video. Bro, like the dude's funny as hell, I'll give him that, but that was the slowest and the weakest single leg run the pipe I've ever seen, and he might have been taking it easy, but god man, like, because it's a kid basically. I think he's like, it's like a kid, but like yeah, I don't know, that's all I have to go off from his trading at AKA. So the dude just has terrible takedown defense anyway. Would baffle me if Daukaus didn't try to test the new defensive wrestling of Kevin Holland in the first 2 minutes. I think he's going to go for takedowns pretty quickly. I think the game plan is pretty clear for Daukaus. Don't really stick on the feet too long. Look to just get him down. I feel like the entries that Daukaus was getting on Hawes would 100% result in a takedown if he got them on Holland. Like, Hawes has very good takedown defense, and Kevin has the opposite of that. And I think he will get those entries as well. Like, even if Kevin's takedown defense on the fence or whatever, pure wrestling, has improved a bit, he is just like really bad at maintaining range. He constantly lets guys close distance on him and clinch up. So even if he's been working a whole lot in his wrestling, like, what about his get-ups? What about his clinch game? Because that was a huge problem as well. His clinch, he was able to get controlled against the fence pretty easily. And his bottom game, that was the main issue. Like, if you get taken down and if you go back to your feet, it's not too much of an issue. But if you're getting taken down, just controlled constantly, then that's the problem. And even if he's been working on his wrestling, he's not going to be able to stuff every single takedown of every single opponent. So he needs to work on all those facets in MMA. And if Daukaus gets on top, Daukaus is slick on top. Daukaus is a better top player, in my opinion, than Marvin Vettori. I probably won't say Bronson, because Bronson seems to evolve that top game quite a bit, but Daukaus has a very nice top game. He's very good at transitioning on top, and he's got nice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think the main problem I have with Holland, though, is, well, what lets him down the most is his mentality and his mindset towards the other disciplines of MMA. Like, he's got potential for sure. He's a super slick striker with an excellent frame for the division, and he's probably the most relaxed, like generally relaxed dude I've ever seen in the cage. Like, he's super loose in there. It's quite incredible to see. But his attitude towards grappling has got to change. Like, look at this. Like that was early June, but still, it's about a month and a half after he lost to Marvin Vettori. And he's just obviously not respecting wrestling still. Like, he obviously doesn't like doing it too much, which is fair enough, but you know, he's obviously not respecting it very much. He's calling it finger in the butt stuff. I think he needs to respect the game of wrestling a little bit more, and so he can grow as a mixed martial artist, or he can just be content with being, you know, a journeyman and losing to anyone with a bit of grappling, and you know, winning that battle. But he's still quite dismissive of wrestling as a whole. It makes me feel like that his mentality hasn't changed a whole lot. Yeah, like trash talking and shit. Like, it's gonna make some good YouTube compilations, and it's gonna make all the 12-year-olds laugh. But you're not gonna grow as a mixed martial artist if you keep having that. Also, I have a few question marks around the mental game of Carl Daukaus. Like, that was a really pathetic performance by Carl Daukaus against Phil Hawes. He seemed to just check out. I get the vibe that he's a bit of a mental midget. Like, no joke, he'll probably get offended by the in-cage trash talking of Kevin Holland. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But yeah, he seemed to check out a bit after he faced a bit of adversity from Phil Hawes. So it's obviously a huge step down here from Kevin Holland after fighting Vettori and Bronson in his last two fights. But I'm still going to pick against him. I picked against him in his last two, and I'm going to do it again here, because I can't pick someone who has decent grappling against Kevin Holland. He's just really bad wrestling, but also just on bottom. He just has no urgency to get up. I feel like Daukaus is going to get him down. He's going to out-scramble him in basically every scramble, and he's going to be able to float on top for at least 2 rounds, and I think he's either going to win a 30-27 or a 29-28. So let's have a look at the betting lines. Alright, so if you guys could like the video, that'd be awesome. Thank you for that. So prediction is Carl Daukaus by decision. Yeah, I think he gets him down, just floats on top, basically. I think he should be a favourite. Quite a sizable one at that. Probably the line should be flipped again, as I say that. So, yeah, I think the line should be flipped. I'm definitely going to be betting Daukaus as a underdog. Probably going to be adding to it. If Kevin Holland gets taken down pretty early, I might add to that as a live bet. What else? I mean, Daukaus by decision, but the money line is juicy enough as it is, so I'm probably just going to play that. Yeah,